Yes, thank you very much. And I am very happy to accept the amendment as proposer of the motion. The Mayor's 2020 vision document talked about the need, emphasised the need for affordable housing in London, also the need for attracting more investment into London, the danger of losing out to global rivals. It's curious then that London's one of its most famous, iconic shop fronts for selling UK businesses, both domestically and internationally, the Earls Court Exhibition Centre, and an important cultural, very important cultural space as well, has effectively been condemned for demolition by our very own Mayor Boris Johnson, who refused to direct refusal of the application to demolish those. When I met with trade association representing the majority of UK consumer and trade events industry, they told me that we actually need more exhibition space in London, not less. They're very concerned about the impact of London losing this world-famous venue. It attracts 500,000 visitors from across the UK and the world, 30,000 exhibitors, hundreds of events, and estimated to be worth £1 billion to London's real economy each year. And knowing what's at stake, myself, Nicky Gavron and Stephen Knight jointly urged the Mayor to defer his decision until a full independent economic assessment had been carried out of the impact of demolition, and also an assessment of the relocation of the Lille Bridge transport depot as well. The Mayor rejected that idea, sadly. It's not just the exhibition space, it's not just the Lille Bridge transport depot. On housing as well, there are major concerns. My various meetings with residents living in the two estates set for demolition left me in absolutely no doubt that the overwhelming majority are firmly opposed to these plans and feel their views have not been taken into account at any stage. Of the 8,000 homes which are due to be built, which include the replacement for the ones demolished, only 10% will be let as social or at affordable rents. In the face of severe social housing shortage, this is plainly ridiculous and absolutely wrong. The Mayor's effectively overseeing a land grab of 77 acres of this prime central London land, mostly by the super rich, homegrown or overseas investor landlords that we've just heard about in the previous debate. Is creating more of a problem with these buy-to-let and buy-to-leave landlords. Whilst the property developer Capco's share prices are surging at the anticipation of this developer's feast, the vast majority of Londoners on low or middle incomes will not share the benefits of this. And I expect that generations of Londoners who have regularly visited the centres, whether it's for the Ideal Home exhibition and various well-renowned concerts there, various other exhibitions, I think most Londoners would just completely fail to understand why this scheme was given the go-ahead. I think crucial lessons do need to be learned from this application. We can't be seeing this repeated in the future, and I think for the reasons that Nicky's going to spell out on the amendment as well, there needs to be some clear assurances about the transport implications as well before this land can be released by TfL. I therefore urge the Assembly to support this motion and let us not repeat this disastrous planning decision again. Let's learn the lessons from this, and let's hope that the Mayor of London learns the lessons from this. Thank you. I hope you support the motion.
Thank you. I call Assembly Member Gavron to second the motion and propose her amendment.
I'm very pleased to be seconding this motion and to also be speaking to it as an amended motion. I particularly wanted to move the amendment because I don't think everyone realises that Earls Court and everything that we've been hearing about is not yet a done deal. We're not talking here, by the way, about a brownfield site or a dilapidated derelict site. We're talking about a site with 3 fantastic assets on it. Earls Court Exhibition Centres, bringing £1 billion to the economy, employing 12,500 people. I mean, an amazing asset, which is a showcase for consumer goods and services. It's unique in that way, and there's no replacement for it at the moment. If it were to be knocked down, which is what the Secretary of State and the Mayor want. Then you've got Lilliebridge Road Depot, which is an asset to the underground and is very important to TfL, and employs 500 people, manufactures bespoke components for the underground. And then, of course, you've got West Ken and Gibbs Green Estate. Now, to anyone who's been round, they will know that these flats are very spacious, much, much more than Parker Morris plus 10, 10, 10. And the houses are what I think we're being told the Mayor aspires to. Terrace houses, with gardens, even with drives. And all this is to be knocked down. And those communities and those businesses, the ecosystem, destroyed. Now, the Mayor's been behind this. He's been the driving force from the very beginning when he designated it as an opportunity area. And we have a situation now where, beyond that, Transport for London, and remember the Mayor is the chair, Transport for London have now agreed to enter into a joint venture. And the agreement isn't yet finalised. So there is still some time. Now, this amended motion is saying that this agreement shouldn't be finalised unless and until there is a replacement for the iconic Earls Court exhibition centres. You can't, all other cities are expanding their exhibition centres. We're knocking some down. And it should be within West London, which is brilliantly connected and close to Heathrow. Of course, there should be a replacement for Lilliebridge Depot. And on the land and the value, this was never tendered on the open market. Therefore, there is no independent market value for it. Nor has Transport for London managed to get a stake in the development. So you have a situation where, as the land rises, and there's no review mechanism, that was turned down, as the land rises, Transport for London gets nothing back from that. And we need a review mechanism. We need a way that Transport for London can actually increase the amount of affordable housing as the land goes up, so the proportion will go up. There are also some legal uncertainties. There are legal challenges in train at the moment, and not all the land has been acquired. Now, there are compelling reasons not to go ahead with destroying these three assets. But if it is to go ahead, then all these issues have to be resolved. And that's why we should all vote for this motion.
Thank you. I invite Assembly Member Copley to second the amendment.
Yeah, I'll second it before me.
Right, thank you. I'm grateful. Do any members wish to contribute? Assembly Member Boff.
I'm wondering what the assumption is about the importance of the Earls Court Exhibition Centre is, bearing in mind that there seems to be a problem with, in London as a whole, as a considerable amount of exhibition space, not a shortage of it. And I'm wondering how that can stack up with this particular motion. Certainly that exhibition space has moved east rather than west, rather than being in the west. But London as a whole certainly has it. The development is a challenging one, and one that I think it has been enormously difficult for me to come to an opinion on. Redevelopment is without doubt needed, but whether or not this has been the right deal is a very moot point, and we're talking about the past here. I'm not about to condemn the decision, I don't think. However, I am anxious that that we do send a message to the Mayor, and certainly that will be something that this group sends, that all matters should be considered when taking up his responsibilities for determining planning applications. In fact, there is a legal responsibility for him to take up all considerations when determining his opinion, his decisions. I've got a feeling that to an extent that this motion is, well, it is about the past. Nothing is going to change that decision now. Nothing infers in the motion that that decision is going to be changed. So I wonder what value it is, apart from just to knock a decision of the Mayor. It is a difficult one. It's very hard, and it's one that's exercised me a lot. But I think on the whole, I must say that I think the right decision was taken. That it probably is the right development for the area. London is a very congested city, and any change that you make is going to affect people's lives in very substantial ways. And we've seen it all over inner London. We've seen it most currently, as far as I'm concerned, in Hackney, where a redevelopment there has resulted in residents being effectively cheated of the value of their properties. I didn't see any motions coming forward from the Labour group with regard to that particular problem. So I believe possibly there is a little bit of politics behind this as to where it is, and so I won't be supporting this particular motion. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you. I haven't seen anyone else indicating who wishes to speak. As the amendment has been accepted, there is no need to sum up on it. Therefore, can I call Assembly Member Johnson to sum up on the motion?
Thank you. Yes, I'll just very briefly respond to some of the points that Andrew made. In terms of exhibition space in London, certainly what we heard from the events industry when we met up with them was that there was actually a shortage of exhibition space in London rather than a surplus, and that this asset was absolutely vital. You've got to remember as well that it's not just the economic impact of the exhibition space itself, it's the whole local economy that has built up in the area around Earls Court, all the hotel industry and the small businesses and the hospitality industry that has built up around the exhibition centre for many, many decades, and the economic impact of that, which is why myself and Nicky and Stephen Knight asked for an independent economic impact assessment to be published as part of the process. The Mayor refused to do that, which I think is a real shame, because that could have been a really useful piece of work. So I think that's the point on the exhibition space. I can see that Andrew is wrestling with this, and I know that Andrew does care passionately about affordable housing issues, and he talked about it being a challenging decision. But I think more and more these days, when you hear the politicians use the word challenging, actually reading between the lines, so often it's not challenging, it's just plain wrong. And I think this decision is just plain wrong. I think it was. I think it was a huge mistake. But as Nicky says, there are still issues around the Transport for London site, and that is not a done deal yet. So that is an important part of the motion now, thanks to Nicky's amendment. So in terms of the value of the motion, I think there are two key issues. There are the unresolved issues around the Transport for London depot and that land held by Transport for London, which Nicky's amendment quite clearly spells out some key concerns. And there's lessons to be learned across London. We do not want to see this repeated across London, where more and more social housing gets demolished for luxury developments, where more and more prime businesses and real assets to London's economy gets demolished for more and more luxury developments. It's not the way forward, and lessons do need to be learnt from this.
Right. Thank you. That concludes the debate. We will now take a vote on the motion. Those in favour, please show.
14.
Those against? The motion is approved. I hand the chair back to Darren Johnson.